right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
It's Monday, June 10th, and the Yankees were in Kansas City to take on the upstart Royals. Carlos Rodon was going for win number 9, and Juan Soto was back in the lineup. My recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
New York City.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't know why it says there's nobody watching. We got people watching. Anyway, welcome back to Aiden from Fireside Yankees. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Derek?
I'm good, man. I'm good. The podcast listeners couldn't see that, but he gave us a nice salute. Very patriotic of you. Juan Soto back in the lineup. That's got me feeling good. Aaron Judge got the night off, and we got a win anyway. I suppose he's due for a night off once in a while. Stanton and Rizzo also got the nights off. Jahmai Jones in right field. Terrified me when I saw the lineup, but he made a nice catch. And always nice to eke out a win when you're resting some of your bigger guys. But before we get to the recap, gotta get your thoughts on the Rizzo slump right now. He had second night off in a row. Probably going to be back in there right now. Think he's washed up, or you think it's just one of those things where it's, just a slump?
Well, Derek, I mean, it's been over a year since, Tatis ran into Anthony Rizzo's head and gave him that concussion. And I think it's, kind of becoming abundantly clear that has not been the same since. He really has not been the same player. His average exit velocity has dropped down to 87.8 miles per hour, which in 2022, it was 89.4 miles per hour. And that might not seem like a big deal, but 1 miles per hour is actually a pretty big difference. And the way he's hitting the ball right now is just not sustainable. He's striking out a lot. He's really not walking a lot either. Well, I mean, he's not striking out a lot, but he's not walking a lot either. Since that injury, he has like a 279 OBP, a 293 slug. The guy can't hit. He's chasing a ton. I hate to say it, but, he looks really washed up at the moment, and I think they're going to have to look into getting some kind of replacement. I don't know if that's on the trade market. I know some nice names like Christian Walker and Vlad Guerrero Jr. have been floating around on the block. Or maybe you call up Ben Rice from AAA, who, he just got promoted to AAA just last week, and he's been tearing it up since then. So The Yankees definitely have a nice question mark on their hands for the next couple months.
I'm thinking early retirement. Give him a nice little coaching, cushy job to help mold whoever the next first baseman is, whether it's Ben Rice or whoever, and let him win a ring as a coach, like Jake Taylor in Major League too. So last time we saw Carlos Rodon in Kauffman Stadium, he was giving up 8 runs and getting precisely dick for outs. He was awful in the final start of last season. Different pitcher this year. Last time out, he took a perfect game into the 6th inning. Tonight, he took a no-hitter into the 5th inning. What'd you see from Rodon tonight?
Well, I mean, what I saw from Rodon tonight was really just 7 innings of efficiency and damage contact prevention. He threw over 70 strikes in his 103 pitches. He only had 3 strikeouts, but had a modest amount of whiffs. Even though he was giving up, he wasn't giving up a lot of contact or a lot of hard contact. He still gave up a lot of contact. There were 7 hard hit balls, but the Royals never really got a hold of any pitches, and there were a lot of soft ground balls and soft flyouts. This wasn't the vintage Rodon we saw last start against Minnesota, where he had 9 strikeouts in those 7-8 innings. But I really would have liked him to use his changeup more to get those strikeouts, to be that vintage Rodon. But since he mixed in his curveball more evenly with that changeup, that diverse repertoire, it allowed him to pitch so well tonight and sustain a 201 expected batting average, according to StatCast.
Yeah, 98.4 miles an hour max on the fastball, 14 swings and misses, only 3 strikeouts, but efficient. Totally different guy this year. All right, so it looks like the chat's filling up. Let's go ahead and get to the play-by-play here. So Juan Soto back in the lineup tonight. He singled in his first at-bat. Hard ground ball just to the right of second base. Torres also laced a line drive single to right field. And then Verdugo with an excellent piece of hitting to take the ball the opposite way through the left side to score the first run of the game. So 3 straight hits, all of them with 2 strikes. And then DJ LeMahieu followed up with a safety squeeze. That made it 2-0. I can't recall the last time the Yankees did a safety squeeze. Aiden, do you remember one?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, no. I saw DJ lay that down, and I'm like, hey, maybe DJ can't hit the ball too hard anymore, but he's that veteran that knows the fundamentals and can put that safety squeeze down.
Yeah, great approach by the Yanks. Not only great at bats, but playing the small ball. You got a great pitcher on the mound who's off to a great start. He was 9-1, 2-ish ERA. You get him on the ropes early and take advantage of your opportunities before he settles in. Get that second run across. Rodon had a hell of an at-bat versus Renfroe, who ended up leaving the game. He fouled the ball off his foot twice. But bottom of the third, 12 pitches, one of the at-bats of the season so far. Finished him off with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. He was pumped. I loved it. I love that he just challenged him. He was throwing these cutters, he was throwing these sliders, and finally he said, you know what? Hit this. And he just, as hard as he could, right down the middle.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing about Rodon is like, he seemed like that contact first pitcher tonight that was, damage prevention, but he still attacks the zone. He still attacks hitters. Like I said, he threw over 70 strikes tonight. That's a really insane rate.
Yeah. So Yankees put up another crooked number in the fourth inning, base hit by LeMahieu. Grisham got hit by a pitch, and then a beautiful bunt by Jahmai Jones to put them both in scoring position. And then Jose Trevino knocked them both in with a 2-run single. He had a good night. Multi-hit game. 2 for 3, couple of ribbies, hitting .264 with a .704 OPS. I want to talk about the catching situation later because I thought we would see more from Austin Wells. So I kind of want to get your opinion on him. He was pretty unlucky early in the season, but by now it should have kind of leveled out. So anyway, DJ and Rodon combined to make an excellent defensive play in the bottom of the fourth. Diving stop from DJ, flip to Rodon covering. Hell of a nice play.
So you're still master of your domain. Yes, I am.
And then the Royals finally got to Rodon for a run in the seventh, but ultimately he pitched out of further trouble. Final line on Rodon, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Very nice job. And, I mean, Aiden already broke it down. 70 strikes, that's hard to do. Royals got another run off of Ian Hamilton on a double by Bobby Witt Jr. Wasn't ripped. I mean, it was just a chopper down the line, perfect placement. Got the run in. Michael Tonkin came in for the ninth and closed it out. I am sold. Michael Tonkin for closer. Yankees win!
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win. You're a winner.
Win number 47 for the Yankees against 21 losses, 691 winning percentage. They are 2.5 games up on the Orioles, who won tonight behind a gem from Corbin Burns, who has a 2.08 ERA. He's having a monster year, man. He's going to get paid this winter. He's going to get a Garrett Cole level contract.
Yeah, I hope not from the Orioles, though. I mean, Corbin Burns has always been a phenomenal pitcher. I was kind of hoping the Yankees would make that move for him, but we'll see where he goes in the offseason.
I think we're saving the bag for Soto this winter. I think the Yankees are going to bring him back. I mean, I can't see him going to the Mets. That is a dumpster fire over there, right? I mean, they're not going to win anytime soon.
I just don't know how Soto could, be winning all these games with the Yankees, having the time of his life, and see the energy at Yankee Stadium the other night, or every night rather, and then look across town at the Mets, clown show over there.
All right, Aiden. So as is customary on this channel, I allow the guest to pick the belt winner. So who you got?
There aren't exactly a lot of names to choose from tonight because, while the offense did score 4 runs, they didn't really score it in a very loud way. So you got to give it to the masterful Carlos Rodon, 7 innings pitched.
All right. 5th belt of the season for Carlos Rodon as he creeps up the belt leaderboards, which I'll show in just a second. So he has 5 belts. He is 5 behind Juan Soto for the team lead. Luis Gil has 7. Aaron Judge has 6. And then Oswaldo Cabrera, surprisingly, with 4. Rizzo at 3 early on in the season. I'm surprised Volpe only has 2. He's had a really, really spark plug kind of year. But Volpe's involved in every rally, it seems, but he's not always the guy getting the big hit,
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was about to say. Volpe, while he isn't, he's not getting the spotlight, but he's definitely he's like the lead guitarist. He's not the lead singer of the band, but he's providing a lot to the song.
Right. So, all right, let's talk about a few Yankees topics while I got you, because you guys got pretty good podcast over there. I know you guys have been talking about a lot of different things. So, Giancarlo Stanton, I brought this up yesterday. He's got a .1 B WAR this year. Now, I know it's different because he's a DH. And he doesn't play the field and doesn't run the bases, really. But a .1 B WAR in 59 games. Jason Dominguez last year in 8 games had .2. And Jason is absolutely ripping the cover off the ball, Aiden, in the minor leagues. He's hitting pitches 109, 110, 112, like almost every single day. 4 hits yesterday. I think they had the day off today, but he's got 3 home runs. He's hitting like 380 in the minors. He's hitting 500 in AAA. 500, Aiden. And we're going to keep running Giancarlo Stanton out there.
Yeah, I mean, Giancarlo Stanton has been the Giancarlo Stanton we used to know. He's a very, very streaky player. When he's hot, he's hot. He's hitting a ton of home runs, and when he's not hitting those home runs, though, it's radio silence. He's hit 15 this year with a .466 slugging percentage, but like I said, he hits those home runs in barrages, and between them, you're not really getting much. You're watching tough at-bats. He has 107 OPS plus on the season. That makes him an above average offensive producer, but he's a net negative on the base paths, and we know he provides nothing to the field. He's a negative asset on the fields, and the Yankees look like they have no intention of playing him in the field. So I think overall, he's weighing the team down a bit by just being a DH that only can DH and is, an above average producer at the plate. So I think it'd be unwise to let him block Jason Dominguez, coming up from AAA, because Jason Dominguez can also play the field and be a DH. You could cycle Judge, Soto, the whole outfield through the DH if Stanton wasn't there. So you really, really can't let Stanton block Dominguez, who, like you said, has been tearing the cover off the ball.
Here's the problem, though. Nobody's going to trade for him. You're not going to cut him because you owe him like 50 or 60 million. It's really just a bad roster move that's like, chickens coming home to roost, right? This is what everybody fears. Like when they hand out the big contract, it's, well, you don't want to pay for that. And I remember when he signed that contract with the Marlins, I was thinking, oh man, the Marlins are going to have to pay a 36-year-old Giancarlo Stanton $25 million or whatever. And I was like, oh no, they're going to get rid of him before then. And then when he came to the Yankees, I was psyched about the move because he had just hit 59 home runs. And I thought, maybe he could be Nelson Cruz, right? Maybe he could be that guy who sticks around as a DH after a while and hits 40 home runs a year for 5 or 6 years in a row. And I pretty much had no illusions that he was going to stick around in the outfield, although he was a decent outfielder at that time, but he had been playing on the turf in Miami. So you knew that eventually his body was going to break down. Now, he has done the work to make himself healthy this year, but he's still not a good baseball player. He's just an occasional home run hitter. My thought is, if he won't accept a trade, which, he's got a full no trade clause, there's no reason for him to accept a trade, I think you have to consider the phantom IL trip. It's worth having Brian Cashman suspended. It really is. It really.
I mean, what do you put him on there for, like something happened with his leg, because something's always wrong with his leg. So,
yeah.
Maybe you give him like a bruised knee or something.
Yeah. All right. So we got to talk about Austin Wells too, because, he really hasn't gotten it going. He was one guy that you and I were both on when we talked early in the year. We were both like, man, Wells going to be a good hitter. He raked in spring training, but he just hasn't put it together, and it might be that he's not getting enough at bats, but Trevino is definitely producing at least a little bit. So you can't take him out completely and just let Austin Wells run with the position. Plus Trevino's defense is like otherworldly. So, I mean, what are your thoughts so far on Austin Wells?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to look at Austin Wells in more of a long-term outlook at the moment, especially because, he's a platoon catcher, and like you said right now, you're not going to take the bat away from Trevino, who has had a really good offensive start to the season and is also a platinum glove catcher. But, Wells is definitely someone who's the Yankees want to have around for at least the next couple of years. And I think, he's really come into his own as a catcher. Pitchers have started to rave about his pitch calling as well and just being a nice battery mate. And yes, his offense has not been great this year. He's actually had stretches where he's been pretty good. I remember the first couple weeks of May, he had a very, very good stretch where he had 120 something WRC plus, if I remember correctly. He was a good overall bat for the Yankees offense. But I think, like you said, his numbers being where they are right now is kind of a result of him not getting enough at bat. It's a platoon situation. I think we got to give him a little bit more time to let that luck kind of stabilize.
Yeah. So, all right, Aaron Judge on pace for 58 home runs. So let's say over under 59 and a half home runs this season.
Derek, I think he's breaking his record.
I think so too, man.
He is having a better season than he was in 2022 at this point. Where he was at this point in 2022, he's having a better season already. He's on pace to do it. He's going to break it.
Yeah, you heard it here first. 63 plus for Aaron Judge. All right, so let's talk through the rotation a little bit. We got Garrett Cole coming back. Obviously, Poteet is the guy that is going to leave the rotation. I'd imagine they're going to send him back down to AAA. Let's pretend for a second that Clark Schmidt was, healthy, and they had to make that decision. Who would have been your pick to go to the bullpen?
It's really, really a tough decision, and I would almost have to say, there's no way you take Luis Gil out of the rotation, but right. I think the Yankees were definitely exploring the option of kicking Luis Gil back to the bullpen for a little bit, just because he was coming off of Tommy John surgery, and you want to make sure, he's not pitching too much innings and re-aggravating that elbow. But, at that point, I would have told you, you don't want to take Luis Gil out of the rotation because he's been the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah. I would have taken Nestor Cortez out of the rotation, I think, just because he's the least dominant out of that bunch, I would say.
Yeah, and they still need a lefty for the bullpen, but it's going to be Poteet, and, the injury to Clark Schmidt kind of changed that whole plan. But, Luis Gil, the question remains, do they kind of, ease up on him at some point? He's maybe fatiguing a little bit earlier in the game. The last couple times out, it looks like, around 80 pitches last time. I felt like, he started to have a little bit of trouble. So maybe they just back off a little bit. But, man, it's tough to take that arm out of the rotation at any point. Even if he hits 130, 140 innings, it's tough to pull that out of the rotation.
Yeah, it's really a double-edged sword. You don't know which way to go there. Like you said, he does look a little fatigued once he gets to 80 pitches, but I think that's also a product of, him getting through the order for a third time, and, the batters are seeing more pitches. But, like I said, like you said, I would like the Yankees just to be a little more careful with him, because I want this guy healthy for the playoffs, because he's going to be electric in those playoff games.
Yeah, Tommy C says Gil has to come out of the rotation soon. He's at 70 innings already. It wouldn't shock me if they really did put him in the bullpen for August, just for a month. Just give him a breather where he throws 2 innings a week, and just stays, live enough to pitch, but basically resets himself physically. And then you could start working him back in September, where he throws maybe, 3 innings here, 4 innings the next time out. And then by the time the playoffs get around, he's ready to go 5-6 innings. You probably don't even want him facing the lineup the third time through in the playoffs. They never do that anymore. In almost every game, the pitcher's out by the 6th inning in the playoffs now. So as long as he can give you 5 by the time the playoffs run around and be healthy, I think that's solid. That's solid. All right, so any final thoughts on tonight's game and on the team as a whole as we head to game 2 of the road trip here?
I guess the final thoughts after the game tonight is just keep on rolling, man. You lost those 2 games to the Dodgers. You lost your first series in a month, but we're still where we were a week ago. This is a really good baseball team from top to bottom. Yes, there are a few holes that need to be addressed at the trade deadline, but just keep on rolling. Everything looks solid tonight. Even though you didn't have your power bats in the lineup, you still found a way, and that's what good teams do.
couple of comments. Clay says, once Clark comes back, you give Heel a bit of a rest. He's scheduled to come back sometime in August. So I think that works out. I think that could be when you just shut him down for a few weeks. And then there was another one. Stanton can kick rocks like Ellsbury. Are the Yankees still paying Ellsbury? I think they're finally done with that contract. It has to be by now.
I thought last year was the last year.
Yeah,
I could be
it was.
wrong, but
yeah, it was. It's recent though. And he hasn't played for a while, but that just goes to show you the Yankees are not afraid, like every once in a while, to just cut a big contract. I didn't think they were going to actually cut Aaron Hicks last year, and that might be like their allocation of dead money for a while. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they would cut $20 million of Giancarlo. Now he's got 15 home runs. I bet they could trade him somewhere. Somebody in the National League, which with how bad the National League is, only 4 teams over 500 or something like that. And then, you got the expanded DH. There's got to be somebody who needs a DH, who needs a bat. But the question is, would Stanton even accept a trade? He probably wouldn't.
I think, somewhere I thought about is because he's kind of a project bat, he might be a bit of a reclamation project for a team. A perfect team for that would be the Los Angeles Dodgers. And, at some point, is Teoscar Hernandez going to leave there? Do they need a DH next offseason? And, Giancarlo Stanton is from California, so it'd kind of be a homecoming. So maybe he would accept a trade to Los Angeles, but it does seem like a very, very far-fetched idea to trade him.
Yeah. I guess we'll see, but I'm ready for the Martian to land in the Bronx. Aiden, appreciate it. Everybody go subscribe to Fireside Yanks. Got some really good content over there, and I will be back for tomorrow's voicemail show. Be sure to call into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Also, subscribe if you're still watching. And help us get to 40,000. We're going to be the third Yankees channel to cross the 40,000 threshold. So do that pretty soon, but can only do it with your help. So help us out, and we'll see you next time.